Republican senators show they have no backbone. Donald orders all foreign aid to be stopped, but with some exceptions. Donald the delusional one offers aid to California to help with the wildfire damage, but there are strings attached. Judge rules on birthright citizenship and slams Donald Trump. The end of FEMA? Has anyone seen the Constitution lately? Apparently, it's no longer on the White House website. I'll talk about these and a lot more. Welcome to another episode of A World Gone Mad, Season 2, Episode 56. I'm your host, Jeff Allen Wolf. Welcome back. And I'm in an angry mood. And I tried to get a little bit quiet and calmer before I recorded this episode for you, but it's difficult, and that's because the vote on Pete Hegseth to be the Secretary of Defense has been just finished voting on. The U.S. Senate narrowly voted to confirm embattled Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary, with Vice President J.D. Vance having to cast the tie-breaking vote. It was a 50-50 tie. All Democrats voted no. 3 Republicans voted no with the Democrats. It was Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell. And this is only the second time in history a vice president has broken a tie for a cabinet nominee. President Donald Trump has stood behind Hegseth. And this is disgusting. I cannot convey the emotions I'm feeling inside right now, how spineless the Republicans are to stand up to anything that Donald Trump proposes. And before you take me to task, yes, this was to be expected. And I said so in a previous episode on my show, A World Gone Mad, that this was a dog and pony show. All the confirmations to come, but it still makes me angry, and it still makes me disappointed to learn that he was confirmed to be the Secretary of Defense. Pete Hegseth, with his alcohol abuse, sexual allegations against him, his stand against women serving in the military, his lack of impulse control. There was a report that he was at a bar while making a trip through one of the areas, I don't know where it was, but he was drunk, and he was yelling out, "Kill all the Muslims." This person is now the Secretary of Defense for America. This person is not qualified to be in charge of the men's room, let alone Secretary of Defense of America. Republicans are putting Donald Trump ahead of our own nation. What else is new? A nomination that was pushed through for an unqualified person. Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren, stated, disqualified person. He is now in charge of the defense of our country. He is in charge of the Pentagon. But there is a glimmer of hope. Hegseth did say he would give up drinking if he became the Secretary of Defense. I'm going to guess a video is going to come out shortly of him drinking. Anyone want to bet? The world is in a dangerous position, and our allies are watching us and this crap show. Every screw up, every scandal that comes up in the Pentagon, any problems with the defense of our country, the Republicans own, and the 70+ million people who voted for Donald Trump. And I would say let's put the magnifying glass on all of the Republicans who said yes to this asinine nomination of Pete Hegseth. And to add even more fuel to the fire, Donald Trump just cut all foreign aid to Ukraine and most of the world. Only Israel and Egypt received waivers for military financing. Notably, Ukraine, which has received hundreds of billions of dollars in aid from the U.S., did not receive a waiver. Plus, Earlier this week, Trump said he was interested in discussing denuclearization between the U.S. and Russia. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin signaled this week that he was prepared to talk with Trump about ending the war in Ukraine. Trump has threatened sanctions, sound familiar, if his efforts at diplomacy fail. Russia has answered back, nothing new to see here. They're basically not impressed with what Trump is saying, and they're definitely not moved by sanctions against them. Why? There are already sanctions on them. And remember, Donald said he would end the war in 24 hours on the campaign trail between Russia and Ukraine. In fact, to be precise, he said he would end the war before he took office. Well, we're going on the 6th day coming up. So, Donald, what's your plan? Or do you have a concept of a plan? Donald, while visiting California wildfire areas, said he would give aid to help with the damages from the wildfires. But with conditions, strings attached. I want to see two things in Los Angeles, said Trump. Voter ID so that the people have a chance to vote. And I want to see the water be released and come down into Los Angeles and the state. Those are the two things before I grant aid to California, said Donald the dictator. Donald keeps claiming that Gavin Newsom is the cause for the wildfires by not supplying water to the firefighters there, or some such nonsense. And to threaten the withholding of aid because he wants to have certain voter ID laws installed is absolutely ridiculous. The one word Donald doesn't know, he doesn't know a lot of words, but compassion and empathy for other people's suffering is not one of them. Putting strings attached to holding, to giving aid to a place that's damaged by fire or flooding and weather problems in North Carolina, same thing Donald's doing, and withholding aid to Ukraine in a fight against Russia. Donald, how do you sleep at night? And don't stay on a Sealy Posturepedic mattress. A judge blocks Trump's blatantly unconstitutional executive order that aims to end birthright citizenship. A federal judge said Thursday that President Donald Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship was blatantly unconstitutional and issued a temporary restraining order to block it. Judge John Cohenauer, a Ronald Reagan appointee who sits in Seattle, granted the request by Washington Attorney General Nick Brown and 3 other Democratic-led states for the emergency order halting implementation of the policy for the next 14 days, while there are more briefings in the legal challenge. And what the judge said is priceless. The judge stated, I have been on the bench for over 4 decades. I can't remember another case where the question presented in court was as clear. Where were the lawyers, the judge asked, when the decision to sign the executive order was made? The judge said it's boggled his mind that a member of the bar would claim the order was constitutional. The judge basically stated, why wasn't a lawyer present in the room when Donald was signing the executive order to end birthright citizenship? Legalities be damned. Donald, the delusional one, is going to sign orders without any understanding of the ramifications to the rule of law. If it's even possible to overturn certain policies, he's doing it because he has a whim. Project 2025, he doesn't give a damn about justice. Trump states next he may get rid of FEMA. That's right, President Donald Trump said he may get rid of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. Called it a disaster as he was visiting the areas of North Carolina devastated in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. I'll also be signing an executive order to begin the process of fundamentally reforming, overhauling FEMA, or maybe getting rid of FEMA completely. I think, frankly, FEMA is not good, Trump said on Friday. The president said governors may want to use their state to fix problems instead of calling FEMA. In other words, don't call the agency, take care of it yourself. Whether it's a Democrat or a Republican governor, you want to use your state to fix it and not waste time calling FEMA, Donald said. And then FEMA gets here and they don't know the area. They've never been to the area. They want to give you rules that you've never heard about. Trump told reporters traveling with him, excuse me, that he is looking at the whole concept of FEMA. FEMA just hasn't done the job. And we're looking at the whole concept of FEMA. I like, frankly, the concept when North Carolina gets hit, the governor of North Carolina takes care of it, Donald said. When Florida gets hit, the governor takes care of it, meaning the state takes care of it. To have a group of people come in from an area, Donald repeats himself, that don't even know where they're going in order to solve immediately a problem is something that never worked for me. But this is probably one of the best examples of it not working, Trump told reporters. The aid will go through us. So rather than going through FEMA, it will go through us, Trump stated more strongly. Did you know that government web pages vanish under Trump? From DEI to reproductive rights, some deletions are standard for any administration on the White House website, but others seem to indicate Trump's intent to reshape the government. As U.S. President Donald Trump's team took control of the White House website this week, notable changes quickly became apparent. Here's a great one, including an error 404, if those of you have seen that on a computer, 404, page not found. You know what page wasn't found? The U.S. Constitution page. That's right. The Constitution has gone missing from the White House website. I kid you not, guys and gals. Among the missing pages, besides those detailing the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, information about the nation's history, biographies of past presidents from both political parties are gone. The site also lacked pages promoting tourism, equity, internships, and other informational resources that were previously available. They're saying they're revamping the website, but come on, guys, a little bit of a stretch. Journalist Kevin Collier reports, in the first few days of Donald Trump's second presidency, his administration has already overhauled the federal government's online footprint. The White House no longer has a Spanish language version. It has removed a disclaimer promising to make it accessible to people with disabilities. And a number of federal agencies have removed web pages related to reproductive rights and diversity. It's standard for any new president to remake the White House website, to reflect their administration's goals and values. Some of the missing pages appear to be temporary changes, but other government website deletions, which NBC News verified, with archived versions of the government websites, seems to reflect Trump's commitment to right-wing culture war issues in his second term. The White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, active as of Saturday, is also gone. Outside of the White House, some federal agencies in the executive branch have similarly removed web pages in what appear to be more deliberate actions reflecting Donald's priorities. The Health and Human Services website, delineating Americans' legal rights regarding reproductive health care, reproductiverights.gov, is offline. It was live as recently as last week. HHS did not respond to an email requesting comment. The Department of Labor appears to have deleted a website of resources for LGBTQ plus workers that was live last month. It didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The National Institute of Food and Agriculture has similarly deleted a statement on its commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. The Defense Information Systems Agency has deleted a page that, as of last year, described its Office of Equality, Diversity, and Inclusion. Isn't this interesting? Coincidence? Shutdown on rights for American citizens? Clamping down and muzzling on freedom of speech? I don't know. You be the judge. It definitely is disturbing and alarming. And we're watching again, like I said, repetitively, moment by moment, the destruction of our way of life, our freedoms, our liberties, our uniqueness. And that is beyond dangerous. There's no word for it. It's destructive. I have a question today for all the Wolfpack listeners. I'm going to do a question each episode, But before I do that, how to reach me. Write this down, pause the podcast, hit stop. If you don't already have this, you can email me at wolfpacklistener@gmail.com. Thanks for the people taking the time to leave comments. It really makes a difference. Or leave a comment on Blue Sky where we are now. You can find me there and you can look up Wolf on the Air. Put all those words together when you search Wolf on the Air. No spaces in between. Or the toll-free 24 hours a day, 7 days a week voicemail system. Leave your comments there. 833-399-9653. Just remember to leave your city, your state, country you're calling from if you're not listening from, not calling from, but if you're listening outside the United States. Your first name is helpful. Any questions or comments you have about this episode or other episodes or anything in general. And something very helpful for the podcast and myself, and I failed to mention in the last several episodes, if you subscribe to the podcast, whatever app you're on, you'll never miss an episode. You don't have to wait for me to send you a link or post it. Subscribe. And if you're on Apple or Spotify, would you please leave a comment and rank or rate the show? Some of you have been doing that, and you're moving me above other Republican podcasts. It makes a difference in their ratings. When they do a chart listing the top podcasts, by you rating and ranking me and listening to a full episode, it moves me up. And when Apple and Spotify see that, they put me in their favorites list, and then the podcast is listened to in front of tens of thousands of people across the world. And that's huge, everyone. That's how you can help me. The comments are great. The support is great. I appreciate that. But rating and ranking on Apple and Spotify, sharing with people on Blue Sky, help me grow the listenership. The wider we can spread this podcast, the stronger I have with a microphone to get the information across about Donald and MAGA. Okay, the question for this episode. Besides Pete Hegseth, which is already unfortunately a done deal, what other people are you most concerned about being confirmed in the important cabinet posts in Donald Trump's administration? And know your answer, everyone, is not an answer. As much as I would like that to happen, and I agree with you that no one get confirmed, don't give me an everyone. Give me specific people that you're concerned about, you're scared about, you're worried that are destructive to our country. 2, 3, 4 people, the heavy-duty people that you don't want in that could damage our country further. Email, leave a comment on Blue Sky, give me a phone call in the toll-free voice message system. And guys, don't forget to join the Wolf Pack. We will be charging for the podcast in the future a subscription fee. If you join the Wolf Pack, it's free. Takes less than a minute to do, and you will never, for the life of my podcast, ever be charged a subscription fee. How to get the link if you don't have it on my Blue Sky account, you'll see the link in my profile, or email me, and I'll get you the link. I'm grateful the weekend is coming up, because if I read any more news about Donald, the wannabe dictator, I'm going to punch a wall or two. I'll be back Monday with a new episode of A World Gone Mad. I'm your host, Jeff Allen Wolf, and until then, enjoy your weekend, and please stay hopeful.